My name is Ephraim. I was a husband. A provider. But I wasn't present. I ignored my wife's cries for attention. Laughed at her efforts. Pushed her away emotionally, until someone else pulled her closer. I thought she'd always wait. I thought her loyalty was guaranteed. I was wrong. That night, while she was showering, her phone buzzed. I glanced at it out of reflex. It was a message from Chris Fire. Last night was fire. I still hear you screaming. My chest froze. My fingers went numb. I scrolled up. You looked so sexy in that black lace. I almost didn't pull out. Immediately I dropped the phone. Everything around me blurred. My knees gave out and I sat on the edge of the couch. My wife. My Jade. My forever. Was laughing at my silence in the arms of another man. This is not just a story of infidelity, this is a story of neglect, regret, and the high price of emotional silence in marriage. Listen carefully, and maybe, just maybe, you'll save your own relationship before it's too late. Before I continue, let me pause for a while and appreciate you all that have been so dedicated to this channel. You all have been so amazing and I am really grateful. Your countless support will never go unnoticed. Your comments, likes are very important to this channel. If this is your first time here, welcome to this family and subscribe for more beautiful stories. Now let me take you to the deepest part of this emotional, heartbreaking, betrayal, redemption and lovely story. They say you never miss something until it's gone. I didn't believe that until my marriage crumbled right before my eyes, and I was the one holding the hammer. My name is Ephraim, and this is not the kind of story I ever imagined telling, especially about my own wife, Jade. But if my pain can prevent someone else's, then maybe it's worth sharing. When Jade and I got married, things were beautiful. She had this spark in her, the kind that lights up a whole room when she smiles. We laughed a lot. We touched a lot. We couldn't keep our hands off each other. But somehow, slowly, life got in the way. Work took over my mind. Responsibilities buried my heart. And I didn't even notice that I was pushing her away. It wasn't like we fought every day. In fact, we barely spoke. That was the problem. I came home tired, she greeted me with warmth. I answered with a grunt. I blamed stress. I told myself she would understand. I figured love didn't need to be constantly shown, it should just exist. But love is not a stone. It's a plant. You don't water it, it dies. Jade noticed the change before I did. She started trying, really trying. She cooked my favorite meals. Wore makeup even when she wasn't going out. Wore lace at night and sprayed perfumes that lingered in the air long after she went to bed alone. I saw all of it. And I mocked it. Trying to seduce me like some high school girl. I scoffed one night when she wore red heels to the kitchen. She turned around, lips quivering. I just wanted you to notice me. I laughed. Well, mission accomplished. I thought it was funny. She didn't. That night, she didn't come to bed. And I didn't bother checking on her. Days turned into weeks. She stopped trying. Stopped cooking, stopped talking. I didn't even notice that she had started going out more, late evening errands and hangouts with old friends. She began dressing like she was 22 again, short skirts, crop tops, heels. She was stunning. For the first time in months, I actually looked at her and thought, damn. But by then, something had changed. Her eyes had a distance in them. Her smiles were polite, not warm. I remember asking her once where she was going and she said, out. Where people smile back. That hit me. But I didn't know how to respond. One evening, I came home early from work. She was in the living room, giggling on the phone. She didn't hear me come in. Her laugh, God, I hadn't heard her laugh like that in a long time. And it wasn't for me. That night, while she was showering, her phone buzzed. I glanced at it out of reflex. Message from Chris Fire. Last night was fire. I still hear you screaming. My chest froze. My fingers went numb. I scrolled up. Chris, you looked so sexy in that black lace. I almost didn't pull out. Jade, you did halfway. But I screamed for more anyway, face with tears of joy, fire sweat droplets. I dropped the phone. Everything around me blurred. My knees gave out and I sat on the edge of the couch. My wife. My Jade. My forever. Was laughing at my silence in the arms of another man. But the part that killed me most. I had no right to be shocked. I drove her there. I didn't cheat with my body, but I abandoned her with my silence. My indifference was the affair. That night, she came out of the shower in a towel. Her phone was on the table. She saw my face and knew. Her eyes didn't lie. She didn't even flinch. You saw it, she whispered. I nodded. She sat next to me quietly. I begged for your attention. 4 months. You pushed me away. I'm not proud of what I did. But I was drowning. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. But I just sat there. Numb. The woman I had married was no longer mine, and I had no one else to blame but myself. I don't know what hurts more, losing your wife to another man, or realizing you pushed her there with your own 2 hands. That night after reading those messages, I didn't sleep. Jade didn't either. We both lay in silence on the bed, back to back, like strangers bound only by a contract and fading memories. The next morning, I watched her get dressed. She wasn't nervous. She didn't rush to hide. She didn't offer excuses. She just pulled on her jeans, tied her hair, and grabbed her purse like everything was normal. Jade, I finally said, my voice breaking. She stopped and turned around slowly. Her eyes were already wet. I'm sorry, she whispered. I never wanted it to get this far. Then why? I asked, choking. Why did you let someone else touch me? She finished, bitterly. Because you wouldn't. You wouldn't even look at me. You used to make me feel wanted, Ephraim. Then you made me feel invisible. Her words sliced deeper than any betrayal ever could. I tried, she continued. I begged for your time. Your affection. Your smile. I changed my hair, my clothes, my everything. But you didn't see me. You laughed at me. I was dying inside. I was tired, I defended weakly. I was working. We all work, Ephraim, she snapped. But I never stopped trying for you. And you know what hurt more than the loneliness? The fact that I still hoped. Every single day, I hoped you'd notice me. Want me. Touch me. She sat on the edge of the bed and looked me straight in the eye. But you didn't. So one day, someone else did. He looked at me like I mattered. Like I was still beautiful. And I gave in. Tears burned my eyes. I had no more words. All I had was regret, and too many what-ifs. From that day, something shifted in me. I knew I had failed as a husband, but I wasn't ready to lose her completely. I thought maybe, just maybe, I could fix what I had broken. I started coming home early. I cooked dinner one night, burned it, but she smiled. I complimented her hair. Took her out for a movie. Bought her roses and wrote a note, for the love I took for granted. She accepted it all. But I could see it, her heart was elsewhere. We were in the same house, but her soul had left me. One evening, I planned a surprise date. Booked her favorite restaurant, bought a new suit, even played our wedding song in the car. She came out dressed beautifully, but her smile didn't reach her eyes. Still, I took her out. We laughed a little. Shared stories. It felt like old times. Hope started rising in me again. After dinner, we walked to the car, and I leaned in to kiss her. She let me, but her lips didn't move. I pulled back, confused. I'm trying, she whispered. But it feels forced. I looked at her, heart sinking. You still love him? She paused. I don't know. I just know that I don't feel safe with you. Not emotionally. Not anymore. That sentence broke me. The next week, I tried again. Got her lingerie, the same color I once saw in that message. I thought maybe if I touched her, reminded her of us, something would reignite. But one night, I came home early again. The lights were dim. I heard soft music coming from our bedroom. For a second, I smiled. Then I heard her voice. Laughing. I walked toward the room slowly. The door was half open. She was sitting on the bed in lingerie I bought, smiling at her phone. She was on a video call. Stop looking at me like that, she giggled. You know what that does to me? I froze. Yeah. I wish you were here too, she said softly. I still think about last weekend. You pulled out halfway, and I still screamed for more. My heart stopped. I stepped back before she could see me. My body felt like it was crumbling. My wife was still with him. Not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. I drove around that night with no direction. My hands were shaking on the steering wheel. I ended up at a church parking lot and just sat there, staring at the sky. How did I let it get this far? That's when I started thinking, not just about myself, but about the people who are where I once was. Young husbands. Wives. Lovers. People who think love is supposed to be automatic. People who think attention isn't a need. That affection can be postponed until tomorrow. Let me say this, love needs feeding. Marriage needs maintenance. You can't run it like a business deal. Jade had needs, emotional, physical, spiritual. I ignored them all. I told myself she was being needy. That she'd calm down eventually. I treated her as if she had no right to want more than my paycheck and my presence. But women are more than roommates. They're human. They need attention, love, touch, presence. And if you don't give it, someone else will. That's where I lost her. I came home that night and found her already asleep. I didn't wake her. I just stared at her peaceful face, wondering how we had gone from passion to pain. The hardest part? I still loved her. Deeply. But now, she was loving someone else, because I left her empty long enough for another man to fill her heart. It's a strange thing, watching someone you love slowly pack up her heart and carry it away from you. Jade didn't storm out or slam doors. No. She drifted, one emotional step at a time, until she was barely there at all. And I watched it happen. After that night, when I saw her in lingerie on a video call with someone else, I couldn't pretend anymore. We weren't just going through a rough patch. We were broken. Shattered. I filed for separation the next week, not out of anger, but out of sheer exhaustion. Emotionally, I had already lost her. The paper was just the final nail. She didn't fight it. I think it's the right thing, she said calmly when I told her. That hurt more than anything. No tears. No begging. Just release. As if she had been waiting for me to say it. She moved out 2 weeks later, took some clothes, her laptop, a few books, and left the rest behind, including the wedding photo I found buried in the drawer. We were smiling in it. I had my hand around her waist. That was the men she married. The men she once believed would cherish her. I failed her. People always ask, why do women cheat? I used to ask that too, until I realized that the better question is, why did I stop giving her reasons to stay faithful? Cheating is wrong. Don't get me wrong, I don't excuse what Jade did. But when you push someone to the edge every day, don't be surprised when they finally jump. I started seeing a therapist. I had to. The guilt was crushing me. I wasn't eating. Couldn't sleep. My chest felt like it was collapsing from the weight of regret. One session, the therapist asked, if you could say anything to your younger self, back when your marriage was starting to fall apart, what would you say? I paused, then said, I'd say, wake up. Touch her. Tell her she matters. Because silence kills love faster than words ever could. That's the part one want young men and women reading this to hear. Relationships aren't just about providing or being faithful. They're about presence. Affection. Vulnerability. Time. You think it's fine to keep pushing your partner's needs aside, until someone else comes along and sees what you've been blind to. And by the time you finally wake up, it may be too late. Jade and I tried counseling, for what it was worth. There were moments when I thought we might have a shot. She smiled more. We talked honestly, without yelling or accusing. But every time I reached for her hand, she'd hesitate. Every time I kissed her cheek, I'd see her eyes shift, like her mind was somewhere else. Eventually, she admitted it. I care about you, she said. But I don't feel that connection anymore. I don't trust this to work again. I nodded. I didn't fight it. I had fought too late. A few months later, she met someone new. Officially. The same man, I assume. She posted a photo online, smiling in his arms. The caption read, "Peace. At last." It tore me apart. But I didn't lash out. I didn't curse her. I just stared at the screen, whispered, "I'm sorry," to the air, and closed the app. I've learned a lot through this. Pain is a loud teacher. Let me say this directly to every man reading. If she's still trying, don't ignore her. That's love still breathing. If she's dressing up for you, compliment her. That's her seeking your eyes. If she's crying, don't call her dramatic. That's her heart begging for help. If she's quiet, don't assume everything's fine. That's a warning sign. I used to think being a husband meant paying the bills and staying loyal. But loyalty isn't just about who you sleep with. It's about who you show up for. I stayed faithful with my body but cheated her with my absence. And now? Now I'm alone. The silence in the house is louder than ever. I walk past her empty side of the bed. I still cook for two, sometimes out of habit. I still think of her when a certain song plays, or when I pass her favorite restaurant. Regret is a cruel companion. It doesn't scream, it whispers, "You could have saved her." But I hope someone out there learns from my mistake. Before it's too late. Don't wait until your partner is in someone else's arms to notice the love you had. Value people when they're still within reach. Relationships die not just from betrayal, but from neglect. If you're lucky enough to be loved by someone, don't let them beg for your attention. That's not love. That's emotional starvation. Feed your love. Hold them. Listen. Speak. Touch. Try. And most of all, don't assume they'll wait forever. Because the truth is, they won't. If you find this story interesting and relatable, subscribe and hit on notifications. Your comments and likes are highly important for the growth of this channel. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one.